Hello, I'm Theo Johnson, class of 2021, part of the Cisco Academy at Crossing High School. We'll be talking about understanding hardware. A lot of things that are done via networking is related to using switches. Switches filter data by controlling traffic and only sending is very different from the hub, which sent the information to everybody and whoever it was for accepted the information. That's why a switch is also considered a smart device. Switches know which destination to send it because they use MAC addresses. On switches, you have two kinds of ports, fast Ethernet ports and gigabyte ports. A fast Ethernet port transmits the data between 10 and 100 megabytes per second, while the gigabyte ports transfer the data from 100 megabytes per second to 1,000 megabytes per second. There are also two different ways an owner can set up a switch. They can either unmanage their switch, not really have that many restrictions, just let people hop on the switch with no repercussions, while a managed switch really directly controls who is allowed to actually use the switch. VLAN, which stands for Virtual Local Area Network, is a network inside of a network. The concept of VLANs may come off as confusing, but I have a solid explanation to help those who are confused. Let's say there's a school and there's 12 students and 12 teachers. They all would use the same network, but the teachers wouldn't want to share all of the data with the students. They wouldn't want the students to see certain things. So therefore, they would create a VLAN to control, what information is sent between who. For example, let's say VLAN 2 was the teacher's VLAN, and the VLAN 1 was used for everybody. There are also layers when it comes to switches too. A layer 2 switch only deals with the MAC addresses. It doesn't really go into the network and the routes and the finding the IP address like a layer 3 switch does. Layer 3 switches also have way better security. Network redundancy is very critical when it comes to businesses. Network redundancy is basically like insurance, but for networks. If something goes down in the network will still be up and running. You'll be fine. It ensures that your network will not fail. The backplane speed of a switch is the amount of data or information that is transmitted between the NIC card. The MAC table is very important when it comes to switches. The MAC table holds all of the MAC addresses, which is a critical function for the switch. As I said previously, a hub was the first version, an attempt at creating a switch. The thing that the hub did wrong was that it sent the information to everybody that was connected, instead of just the designated MAC address. V switches are very similar to regular switches. The only thing is a V switch is a software instead of an actual hardware piece that you can feel and touch. The only difference between a V switch and a regular switch is that a V switch actually examines the data before it is sent. Understanding routers is very important when it comes to networking. When it comes to routing, it is very good to have multiple speeds because it makes transferring the data even more easier. Directly connected routes, though, those are the best for speed. You get the best speed because you're directly connected. There are two different kinds of routing. You have static routing and dynamic routing. Static routing is manually putting the IP address within the IP configuration table, while dynamic routing is getting one from the network, from the DHCP. An advantage that dynamic routing has is that it can adjust if the IP address is messing up or if the network is having any problems. Static routing, you can't because you manually put it in there, so you'll have to manually go and change it back. Between the RIP protocol and the OSPF protocol is that the RIP protocol, it only gives you 15 hops, while the other protocol, it gives you unlimited hops. There's no limitation. Whenever the other routes are having problems or having difficulties, the default route. Whenever the routes are having any issues or problems, the default route comes into play. The routing table is also very critical when it comes to networking. The routing table stores all of the IP addresses. The routing table is always stored in the RAM section of a device. The NAT protocol, as you will hear about this again later on, is used to control whether the address will be public or private. It can change between the both. It all depends on the owner. Software routing is basically a remote access app. It lets you control a device from another location. Quality of service measures the performance of a network. And one of the most important things when it comes to networking is the DHCP. The DHCP is responsible for assigning IP addresses.